Alright, so recently I've been playing some Tekken Tag Tournament 2, so got some pre-recorded footage here in the background of me just messing around on arcade mode, grinding through, checking out all the characters, unlocking some endings, and so on. This was actually the first Tekken game I owned. Not the first one I played. The first one I played, I believe, was 1 or 2. I think 2, but I'm not 100% sure. But I love a good 3D fighter. You'll see in my gameplay too. I'm kind of more of a casual player though, not competitive at all. Although growing up, I was a Virtua Fighter fan. And then I sort of moved on to Dead or Alive once I figured out that it was also a 3D fighter. And the latest game at the time even had, I believe, 4 Virtua Fighter characters in it. And I knew Tekken had a really good reputation, but I was a little worried because I knew from like playing it and looking it up in the past that sidestepping wasn't as seamless as it was in the later Virtua Fighters and Dead or Alive. And for me, that was just a really important part of the game, I guess, at least at first glance. And I was just worried about how much Tekken would click with me once I finally tried it out. I actually kind of assumed Soul Calibur was the same way because I hadn't played that one at all, which would wind up being wrong. And Soul Calibur is probably my favorite now of all of the big 3D fighters. But yeah, I forget if Tekken 7 was out when I got this one or if it was coming out. But I figured, like, I kind of heard mixed things about it, but from my perspective, to just, casually check out more characters than any other game in the series, and just sort of get introduced to the world and tone of everything with gameplay that may not be peak of the series, but is probably good enough for what I was looking for. So that's why I kind of was intending to start here, but eventually I played it a bit when I first got it, did wind up liking it. Eventually, I was going through and collecting some series, and like I said, my good memories from the little I played of this game sort of convinced me to collect all of the games. And then when I finally got around to playing some of them, I started with 5 for whatever reason, playing all the way through, and I've done all of them through 8. Mainline, though, obviously now getting to the one spin-off, or at least the one you can still play. I don't know much about Tekken Revolution. I know that kind of would be in there too. And yeah, I don't know, it felt like time to finally properly play through the entire game. Kind of nuts. People have made the comparison more recently, but to have this big everyone is here moment for Tekken, well, almost everyone, because I for some reason was thinking Devil Kazuya was playable here and not just part of Kazuya. But that doesn't seem to be the case unless I'm missing something. I kind of looked it up and I think he was in the first Tekken Tag tournament separately, but that may have been it. So that's kind of a weird one to not have back. But then you also have, I guess you could say, Roger Sr., Gon, and Azazel. I guess they all make a little more sense though, because Gon, there's some licensing stuff. Although him returning at any point would be really cool. And Roger Sr., Roger Sr. still shows up, but I guess you could say maybe he's a little redundant with regular Roger Jr. But at the same time, I don't know, there's like a lot of different clones in that. Kind of one of those why not situations, but not really a big loss. And then Azazel, I'm not 100% sure. I thought there was a version of Tekken 6 where he may have been playable in a certain mode or something. Maybe it was a cheat code. I could be completely wrong about this, by the way. At the same time, it is a little surprising since they made Ogre playable in the first one that they couldn't have done the same thing. I know there may have been a size issue, but like I said, they made it work with Ogre, so I think they could have really made it work. The one thing that kind of surprised me here is how close. Like, I never realized how big Marduk or Jinpachi were Like Marduk almost at certain angles looks bigger than Ogre. I wonder what the comparison to Azazel would be. If that would give a better idea to have, compare Marduk between, the two of them. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if it's because it's been a while since I've played a 3D fighter. Last time was probably last year when Tekken 8 came out. Or if it's, it's been quite a while since I've played, sort of a tag team fighter. But the game honestly felt really good and fun to play, kind of refreshing in a way. Almost has me wondering more if they'll ever do anything else with this concept because, I mean, Tekken 7 and 8 were both kind of built from the ground up and are missing a lot of characters. Maybe not at the end of their cycles, but it does almost feel like another good opportunity for Tag 3 if they do wind up kind of getting close and are only missing a few, kind of like how Tekken 6, I guess, kind of was. Although, like I said, I know this game was kind of mixed, and I don't know how well it sold or anything, so I don't know, maybe a tag mode would be more feasible than a tag tournament 3. Either way, I would really like it, though. Especially if they do more unique interactions with certain, teams and opponents. I think you see a lot more of that, in 8, some of the newer games. There was surprisingly, at least from what I saw, not as much as I would have expected with, certain pairs. I thought it may have had a little more of a unique interaction. It's probably asking a lot, especially since you need to do a lot of, voice work and that sort of thing with it. But the potential of the attention to detail there would be fun to see for fans of the series. I like the tag aspect too because especially like going through arcade mode with everyone, like if you don't really like playing as a certain character, you can tag them with someone you do like, or in the case here, because I wasn't sure how similar Asuka and Jin's movesets were. I could kind of go back and forth between them and spot for myself the exact differences in that, which I think is kind of cool. They were quite a bit different, but then I did like a lot of other characters that were really close and almost fun to once again have that direct comparison right after each other to maybe see through those direct, seamless, comparison you can have from tagging back and forth and doing, whatever attack. You can maybe get a better idea of who you prefer and maybe even surprise yourself a couple times there. And switching back and forth too, like I said, it just keeps things fresh while you're grinding through arcade mode and that sort of thing, or a little more fresh. I can imagine insane stuff too with people who are amazing at the game being able to sort of chain together tags like a combo of one character into a combo of another. Something I actually wasn't sure of even going into the game was if there were specific special endings too, kind of getting back to the interactions. But I didn't know if certain tag teams would get you specific endings or whatnot. Like I said, that would be insane and a crazy amount of effort. Maybe there is a little relief that that's not the case too, because I can imagine it being like, I don't know, missing a banter and trying to figure that out is one thing, but a whole entire cinematic and character development is kind of another thing. And even then too, arcade mode's fun, but you're already, if you're going to get all the endings going through it like 50 sometimes. So I don't know, adding on to that might be a bit much. Unless they find something like Smash kind of found in Ultimate with classic mode. Just sort of some sort of twist to keep things a little more interesting going through everything. Like usual, though, I go in with my expectations. Like, I particularly enjoy playing as characters like Yoshimitsu, Lily, Zafina, Jack. But sometimes, there's characters that sort of flow under the radar or who you may not have liked in other games who kind of stand out a bit more. And I felt like there was a lot of that this time. Lei Wulong was one I normally don't gel with, but I was liking here, and I don't know if it's because it's been a while, but Bruce too. Wang Jinrei's moveset was kind of reminding me of Jayus, which isn't a bad thing. I like Jayu too. They're different, but I don't know. There's a similar flow to it. At least I felt like I wasn't sure what to expect from Doctor Boskanovich. He's supposed to be a joke character, I guess, but I thought he was pretty fun too. I would like to see that concept don't almost go the way Jigglypuff in 64 went, and given a serious effort down the line. Although I guess minor spoiler alert for Tekken, but I'm pretty sure Boskanovich is dead now, so they might need to use a different scientist. But I don't know. Some of the wacky stuff they were doing there was fun. Like I said, I felt like everyone felt some of the best that they've felt to play. If I had to pick someone on the opposite spectrum there who just wasn't gelling as well as I'm used to, it would probably be Kuma Panda. This game, in my opinion, had a pretty solid tutorial too. In my opinion, it did a good job of introducing the basics, and they kind of had like an overarching story with it, so it kept it more interesting and fun to do. I don't know, maybe people don't like that and they want something more straightforward and whatnot, but personally, I normally play the tutorials to kind of get, refreshed when I start playing one of these games again. And I don't know, when something's not going the way I think it should be, like I feel like I'm putting in the right input, but it's not giving me credit for whatever they're wanting me to do, that's when I stop. But I will say I did feel when I reached that point here, I still felt motivated to keep going just out of curiosity with, the story and building up combat. Although I wasn't able to clear the last one, though. But still, I appreciate it, the direction they went. I have a few other modes, too. I don't know if you can tell, this is the Wii U version. So you had the different costumes, which were cool, I guess. But you also had, I forget what it's called, it's like Mushroom Battle mode, where, kind of what you expect. You'll have mushrooms spawning all through the battlefield, and you'll get bigger, smaller. I think some speed you up or slow you down. There's invincibility stars sometimes. Maybe was there like one that pretty much only like did damage to you or something, or maybe one that healed. I don't remember. I kind of played each. They had like 6 predetermined battles, and I did them all, and I kind of moved on. It was kind of cool, but I didn't feel any particular motive to keep going with it. I mean, you can play anyone, but you're kind of locked to that stage and to that specific rule set that they have predetermined. Like I said, there's only 6, so I mean, I don't know. Maybe if there was some reward, I would have been a little more motivated, or if they sort of integrated it more with the core game and allowed you to sort of mix and match the 6 different sets they have with, any stage, or maybe they could have had its own arcade mode, or maybe an option where you could integrate a mushroom battle into arcade mode as one of the stages or something. It kind of wound up falling flat. Admittedly, I did play a little bit of Tekken Ball, and I wasn't really getting too into it. I was having a hard time sort of figuring out exactly how to, even on, I think I had it on the easiest difficulty. Like I even have on arcade mode here even too, but I was still getting my ass kicked and having a hard time figuring out how to exactly sort of maneuver and make sure I can hit the ball and sort of get it to where I wanted it to put pressure on my opponent. So I'm going to try it again. I don't know if it's going to happen. I'm not particularly motivated to spend a lot of time trying to figure it out, but I don't know. Maybe it will click after playing everything a bit more. And that, speaking of the difficulty, though, I do really like the difficulty here. I know I'm just on easy mode here, but for me, the best difficulty. Ooh, that lucky box. I'm kind of happy I got that one on the footage. I don't know if you can get any more than that, but the perfect difficulty to me is when you have the advantage, but you can't get careless. And you can still, maybe get unlucky, or you fuck up too much and still lose. Like you saw my ratio there, and I only occasionally lose, but like I said, I feel like I have that sort of perfect balance control. It's not too easy, like I said, which I feel like it can sometimes get, where you really have to try to lose. Yet even at my, you know, low skill level, I'm able to, I don't know, just have fun and not get super stressed or anything, or frustrated or whatever. The other mode they have is Tekken supporters, which I was a little confused on when I looked it up online. It's not really active anymore. It was kind of almost like a leaderboard where people can invest money in characters and you would essentially see who was the most popular. But I saw if you invested 1 million into characters, that you would get, random items and a costume, which was normally a swimsuit. Although sometimes you would get other outfits or outfit parts. Like, for instance, I know I got Nina's Death by Degrees or whatever that spinoff was called. I got her outfit for that, for investing in her. So I don't know if there's a guide anywhere out there on who has, you know, extra outfits through that method. Or there was some too, like Sebastian, who I really like too. Like I said, I like Lily. I like having a clone of Lily too, who's aesthetically quite a bit different. But he had like a wizard outfit, but he didn't have a bottom with it. So I don't know. Was I like, if I invest more, would he have gotten one? Or I sort of found a bottom on the shop that fit in pretty well. So I don't know. Maybe there was a way to optimize that a little bit more. I was just kind of going with the characters I like, or the characters who I thought could have an interesting outfit. Like, another character I invested in was Murdoch, because I was wondering if he had anything based on the intro to Tekken 4. I think when he's got long hair in that. And they have, predetermined stuff in the shop too. The only thing I don't kind of like, so with the Lucky Box system that you kind of saw earlier, I'll normally do like 4-ish rounds of arcade mode per session, and I'll normally get like 1, maybe 2 lucky boxes. However, you can get on a lucky streak. The one time I got on a lucky streak, I was getting a lucky box pretty much after every battle for like a couple days of playing the game. That was a bit much, and that was like right when I first started playing too, so I thought that was normal. So I was thinking, oh, I can easily invest 1 million into every character here. And I don't know, I wish there was a happy medium, because I just don't feel like I'm earning a lot of credits. Granted, like, I kind of get it at the same time, because they want to keep you playing for, a really long time in that. But at the same time, like I said, playing through arcade mode with each character, maybe getting 1.25 million per run, so that way you can do the invest 1 million in each character in Tekken supporters or whatever it was called, and still have 250,000, because a lot of the like other outfit parts you can buy are really expensive too. Sorry about that, I was bumping my mouse there. But then you can get a good extra cosmetic every 4-ish sessions, or maybe you can get one every session if you're at a higher difficulty on top of the million. Like I said, I know that's probably a rule too, the rule set and difficulty I have it on. But I don't know, personally, I feel like going through arcade mode with everyone should put you in a bit of a better position for, customization, shop items, and that than I feel like it does. But yeah, like I said, I've had a good time. Um, I'm actually not done with the game yet. I'm kind of still going through all of arcade mode in that. Like I said, I kind of want to, at least do one run of the time attack and some of those other standard modes they normally have, survival. The auto comp modes on the Wii U, by touching the thing on the gamepad too, are interesting. It feels like cheating, but I'm not gonna lie, I do kind of like I kind of went through a lot of the characters just to kind of see what combos I didn't feel like I would easily be able to pull off or remember, and to have them assigned there, so I can still at least check out what they came up with. Was an interesting, fun idea too. But like I said, still a bit to go, but I figured I pretty much saw everything that I would probably wind up commenting on. So even this session was recorded a little while ago. I think I'm in the around 350-ish battles now.